Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 3 long weeks here at SRA.
Welcome back to the best racing in North America, home of the SRA GT3 Team Series. 60 minutes of action-packed door-to-door racing, 6 divisions, 6 different championships on the line. Let's get ready for some action tonight.
An incident on turn. We have Boardman at a yellow. Looks like he's dropping down positions there on the chicane as a bunch of cars are coming through.
Byron's going to take a dive in the Lexus.
Johnson looking to go down the inside of Maxwell.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to SRA Sim Racing Alliance. It's round 6 this week, Division 1 here at Donington Park, and it's looking a little moist out for this week. I'm Taylor Romano. Joining me on the desk, Josh Damiani. We're missing Paulie tonight, but how are you doing, Josh?
Not too bad. It's a shame Paulie can't be with us, but it seems there's a little bit of a bug going around right now. As per the usual, it's another great night of D1 action, and I'm excited to watch it from the best seat in the house.
The wet Donington, a pretty difficult track to get right just in the dry. Now we're going to add the wet aspect of it, and there is no runoff whatsoever, just straight grass here. And if we're going to be talking track facts, then we might as well throw it to you, Damiani, to talk about the track itself.
Yeah, well, Donington Park over here in England, as you can probably guess by the name, 4 kilometers, not too long, and as per the usual with these tracks, it's extremely narrow. There's a lot of corners that come at you very quickly, a lot of blind corners as well, but bumpy, and like you said, no runoff, no room for errors, and with the rain, it adds a whole different element to this racetrack. It makes it like trying to follow people and spot the blind corners and no reference points, as there aren't any with all this grass. Very, very hard.
Particularly turn 12, where the final turn is a downhill blind apex. So look for that place for people to spin off. Going to be a pretty tough time tonight for most of the people, I can think. What? Just as we speak, Silvers are finally getting their laps underway after going around track, leading them away. Fazli Majid, who's been having a decent season this season. I said season twice. But he's been doing
Fazli
decent.
off to a great run so far in Season 7. I would say last season, a little bit atypical. But, yeah, great rebound so far.
Yeah, and as you can see, it is wet. It doesn't look like it's that light either, so drivers will be setting some slow times at first, and as we get that dry patch racing line kind of coming in, we'll get some faster times. But if you are new around here and you don't know how we do qualifying, we give 20 minutes for our drivers to do qualifying. First 10 minutes are reserved for our silver drivers. Second 10 minutes are reserved for our gold drivers. And if you're asking yourself who's silver, who's gold, let me avert your attention over to the left side of your screen. Every driver with a silver number plate will be your silver driver. Every driver with a white number plate will be your gold driver.
That is correct. And Taylor, just while we're in the early stages of the stream here, you want to check around the crowd of drivers. I'm noticing that since we updated our Awesome Sim Racing, we've lost liveries.
I am noticing that. I'm on board with Fazli here. He's one that normally has a livery, does not have his livery. So wonder if there's some difficulties with that, or maybe just a few files happen to get intrigued. But that's going to have to be something to look towards next week, as our current leader Griffith will set a 32.3, and that time will certainly be beat as the dry line is coming in. Fazli already setting better sector times, currently 3/10 up on his time, and he hasn't even reached the end of sector 2.
Yeah, the rain doesn't seem to be too heavy right now, so that dry line's going to form up pretty early, and I wonder if anybody compensated their setup so that they can afford to push hard, because one thing I noticed is that if you're not prepared for the dry line to form, it will chew your tires.
It will, and that goes the same for the race. Whenever you're practicing, you kind of always have that wet line present, because you don't really have a lot of people practicing on it unless you're in a very big group. So you kind of have to compensate maybe a half a PSI or a PSI in your tires less than what you would normally do, as you know, the water in line. But this is kind of one of those nights where if you're a gold driver, you're kind of praising right now, because you get the fresh dry line right away, and then as you go, that converts to even more of a dry line, almost how the dry line like we'll have in the race, where I think we only have 26 cars tonight. All 26 cars will be driving.
Very small showing tonight for D1.
I can't fully blame too well. This is a treacherous track, so if you are kind of on the edge, as Majid's a little bit on the edge of the track, and we'll probably back out of that lap. If you're on the edge of penalty points or anything like that, maybe tonight might be the night to sit out. But we already have people sitting at the end of the pit lane from Gold Division,
which is very interesting considering there's 4 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the silver qualifying, but Bray just jumped up to provisional pole with a 32.2. These times should be tumbling down, but the deltas are just kind of hanging out. Griffith's got a few tenths right now in the bag, about halfway through his lap, but nobody's really peeling the seconds off like I thought they would.
Stallworth is getting there. He's a little bit ahead of Griffith. So Griffith should find a little bit more traction, and as I say that, he actually loses out a tenth on that uphill right-hander as Majid takes a yellow flag, has to return to the pits, can get back out there and do another lap. That's going to take him a bit. Griffith going to invalidate on that lap. Stallworth, currently our biggest getter, who will cross the line first. Rec is also kind of improving, and as I say that, he's not improving anymore. I'll shut my mouth.
It's odd. We're seeing drivers pick up a lot of time in a couple corners and then lose it all in one corner, and that's just kind of Donington in the wet, you get comfortable and push your braking point forwards maybe 5 meters, or try to attack a corner a little harder, and it's not gonna like it.
But once you get that rhythm, you're kind of in that flow stasis.
Yeah,
So
just
you'll get the hang of it.
cannot leave it.
Correct. Stallworth is going to be our current leader. 32-2, not a bad time in the wet here. Bray's still falling behind by only 0.18 of a second right now. And
This Calvin Lau jumps to the top.
yeah, just a 10th in front of Stallsworth. So improvements to be found, and Lau is actually improving a bit himself. And I really just need to stop talking about people. Called Caster's Curse, everyone.
Picture in picture, hopped on board with Snell Train about halfway through his lap, 0.6 up right now.
Dan Cran is currently 2.5 tenths up on his time as well. And like I said, I should stop calling out drivers because you just lost 2 tenths.
That chicane that Snell Train just went through in the picture in picture off the back straight, it is so tough to get on power as early as you need to be for that corner, because that painted green area on the inside, there is no traction. It's Brandon there, you see at the back end just kick out on him. That grass comes up on you very quick.
And Dan Cran actually invalidated there. It's very touchy. If you just put your tires just in the wrong spot, your lap is done. Stallworth is going to set a new fastest lap. 31.9 will be the time to beat Wreck.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the Audis don't seem to be having too much fun here. Rust keeps finding big jumps, but it's just to bring himself up to the tail end of the field. Still 7.5 tenths back from pole position, but about a tenth back from 11th in front of him.
I can say from experience that driving the Audi in the wet is not a easy experience, to say the least.
Handling any of these cars in the wet is no simple feat.
That is absolutely
There's
true.
definitely some that like it more than others.
Seems like the Porsche and Ferrari are kind of our outliers right now. They seem to be getting along with it quite well.
Just a bit of foreshadowing. I'm very excited to see how the Astons and our McLaren 720S Evo do in the wet.
Driven by Lehman, because Nate Specht is not here tonight. Bassem Majid, after taking his pit stop, will qualify P1 right now, 31.932, so just half a tenth off of Stallworth. Stallworth will be able to make up all that time off that dry line, will demolish the time, 31.7 with Stallworth. That was by the end of his qualifying. He's out of gas.
Yeah, just 30 seconds left here for the Silvers, so as Rust just loses it in the last corner there, unable to bring home that 2 tenths he found. But yeah, 20 seconds to cross the line if you want to have one more shot, or bring home your current lap. This Quigg's hoping to give himself something more representative than the 34.6 he has on the board right now.
Definitely faster than that.
For sure.
I think Sand's going to be pulling off.
Huge drift. He's just having fun with it now.
It is.
I'm wondering where the Delta's going to skyrocket. Where did he spin?
That was the last corner, I believe, no?
Oh, that was his teammate.
Oh, my bad. Mixing up cars again. Good job for me. Bray currently 2 tenths up on their time and coming into Sector 3. So, has all the time to gain here as he comes down to the chicane. We'll be able to take that relatively cleanly. Won't gain him a too bunch of time, but enough to jump him up a position currently. No one else really gaining that much. Dan Cran is behind Bray, gaining a bit. Griffith is gaining a lot currently of that corner. And he will put himself P3. 31.9. Bray will jump up to P2 with 31.8. Wreck in the background finally will cross the line. Won't jump up too high, but we'll jump up to we'll stay in P7. Dan Cran will jump up to P8 to finish out the silver qualifying. We move on to the gold drivers who have been taking their laps around. Led by Mercer. Now, Josh, there's a... I'll call him a new face. There's a new face on the grid right now because we only ever saw him for one race. Then he kind of took the 3-week hiatus. Alex Chilcutt has returned to the track here at D1.
That is right, and anybody who remembers what Alex can do in terms of lap times and race pace knows that he just might be up there with the front end of this grid tonight, even with the lack of practice. I've got him in the picture-in-picture right now. With that camera angle, he's already attacking the curbs full force, 2 wheels in the grass.
We'll have to see how he can handle here. And one of probably the more difficult D1 races, as obviously not a lot of people wanting to do it, given that we only have 26 drivers right now on the grid.
Definitely a lot of points up for grab tonight. Anybody who's fighting for battles in the midfield or trying to help out their team championship standings are going to be in luck.
Will be, unfortunately, not for Matt Lehman's team, as Nate Speck, his counterpart, is not here. But I am curious to see how that new McLaren kind of gets underway, like you said. This Mercer will round out the final corner and set our first lap for the gold drivers. He will already put it on pole of a 31.6.
Yeah, talking about coming out with a statement.
Opening
Straight
lap.
to the top of the leaderboards. Chilcutt rounding out the last corner of his first lap. It is invalid, but let's see what it finishes out at. It would have been about 13th, 14th, low 32.
It's a
Not a
respectable first lap.
Exactly.
Tires are still warming up here. So kind of give everyone a break. Matt Lehman in the new McLaren Evo here, trying to get his fastest lap. Struggling a little bit, but only 0.3 off, and this gap is extremely small from P1 to P10 right now. 0.3 and 67 hundredths of a second right now is the gap between them all.
Yeah, excluding our Audi drivers, we are under 1 second to cover the entire field. So, that's tight.
That's how
Little
close.
bits of improvement will jump you lots of places.
Absolutely, that's how close this race will be, as Marquez is gaining a lot of time, currently 0.4 up in your picture-in-picture window in front of him. O'Brien is up a bit, maybe about a tenth or so. Trying to find any time here in this last section of track. We are a little clumped up here in the gold division, but all drivers making their way around pretty well. How will Marquez do in this final corner? Holds it pretty tight, looks to be pretty steady with it. Neville will set our new fastest lap of a 31.687, 8 thousandths of a second ahead of Mercer right now.
Coadromo coming home for his second lap. Brings him up to 16th, 4/10, just about 5/10 off pole, 32.1.
Everyone pretty much improving all around as this line kind of gets drier and drier. Not big gains, but they're just the small gains for the time being. Mr. Sir, unfortunately, not able to piece anything together. Alex Chilcutt, however, piecing together 2.5 tenths up on his time right now, which, if he can hold it, will be a provisional P1.
Be a very nice taste in his second race of the season.
Is it his second? Or is it his third?
Is it his third or his second?
It's
I don't
one of
remember
those
how
two.
many it's been.
He had a very short entry in the D1, took a hiatus, and came back. He's here now in the red Ferrari. Currently trying to prove what he's worth here. 2.5 tenths. I got a pretty poor exit out of that chicane. So a lot of work here to do in the final two corners. Hopefully he can gain a lot of time. He's actually losing a bit. Holding it very tight in there, gains a ton of time, but his exit is poor. Down to the final turn. Everyone really opting for that very close hugging line of the curb. We'll come across the line. We'll get a provisional pole. 31.632, 55 hundredths in front of Neville, and Neville is almost matching that time currently.
Yeah, Chilcutt knows where he lost a couple of those tenths. He's still got a little bit in the bag if he wants to push harder, but that is tight up there. Top 7, sorry, inside 2 tenths.
Gonna be a very close one here, but Neville is gaining a ton of time right now. And that Aston Martin, like you said, you're very curious to see how it does. It is doing phenomenal in the hands of Neville, not so phenomenal in the hands of Nixon, though. Gets a little squirrely there on entrance, holds it together, will compromise his exit a little bit, and was plummeting time. But all he needs is 55 hundredths of a second just to be able to secure that pole position for time being.
And I'm wondering if Nixon was just having a rough time with the hairpins. His penultimate was much better, gained him a couple tenths into the last corner.
Brian is doing...
with a massive jump in time. That's almost up towards pole, but lost it on the exit.
Neville
6th place.
gained a little bit of time. Wondering if he got a little compromise from O'Brien there in the final turn. O'Brien almost loses the back end. Neville is down a 10th and a half now. We'll be able to make it around one more time for one more flying lap as long as he doesn't bin it. For now, he has to sit P2.
Last 2 minutes of qualifying here, so it's pretty much this lap and one more. That might be it.
Not a lot of people gaining time anywhere. Mr. Sir has some time to gain right now. Manning currently on an invalid lap. It was Neville. Just now realized that.
Matt Lehman trying to eke out another 10th here in the McLaren. Delta keeps teetering up, down.
McLaren doesn't seem to be like the rain too much right now. Mr. Sir currently a 10th up on his time. It's not a lot in retrospect, but it's a lot with this grid tonight as he's only 2 tenths back from P1 right now, and he's in 9th position. So any time gain will jump him up a position, but we'll end up going wide in the final turn. We'll have to reset and start another lap. This will be everyone's final lap if they cross the line right now.
It looks like he did that intentionally. I mean, you get that big run down the straightaway. That was almost a 10th in and of itself.
It's true. It did compromise his exit, though. He ended up going deep on the braking point, so now he's actually 2 tenths down on his time. Marquez. Currently our biggest time gainer right now.
O'Brien was up 2 tenths and just lost the car in Sector 2 right as I hopped on board.
And the qualifying is over, so if you cross the line now, that is the time you have to sit with. Marquez currently trying to eke out any bit of time he can get. Nixon right behind him trying to get any time, currently a 10th up. Mr. Sir doesn't look like he'll be improving anytime soon, but if he can somehow gain 2 tenths somewhere, he should be able to make up at least a couple positions. Marquez, very good chicane, puts him up 2 tenths now.
And Nixon just behind him, also up 2 tenths.
Everyone else not really gaining anywhere. Chilcutt currently our provisional pole leader. Sorry about that. But does Marquez have anything to say about it as he gets a very good entry on this turn? Can he get a better exit? He can hold it together. We'll be able to put a provisional pole time. 31.5 will be the time to beat. And I think that will be it for qualifying as no one else is really gaining anywhere.
That's right, so it's going to be a Ferrari, Aston 1, 2, 3 heading into the race tonight. 31,505 ended up being a full 10th clear after we had 3 drivers inside half a tenth. A full 10th to split. 1-2.
It's going to be a spicy race as the rain is not letting up here, and it looks heavy right now. It's going to stay this way for a bit.
Yeah, it does look a little bit heavier than it was for qualifying, actually.
But luckily, we have all 26 cars running, so we'll get a little bit more of a drier line. So while all these cars are getting ready, get their setups ready, just want to give a huge thank you to all of our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as Documentize, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documentize.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. Huge thank you from them. We'll get to our affiliates later because right now we kind of want to do the standings. We'll jump on over to the team standings, and as I had issues reading this about week 2 or week 3, currently leading team standings, Room Car Drive, headed by Jeremy Mercer, Peter O'Brien, currently 685 points in the lead, but only 65 points back. Champion Motorsports McLemmons, that's Nate Speck and Matt Lehman. Unfortunately, Nate Speck not here tonight. Both Peter O'Brien and Mercer are here. So Lehman has a lot of work to do, but his qualifying position does not spell good news for him. P3 currently is Drive Car Vroom, similar to Vroom Car Drive in P1. 550, only 135 points behind the leader. Rounding out 4 is Comic Racing Face Huggers. That would be Griffith and Nordstrom. And rounding out the top 5, Car Vroom Drive. TSE, currently the conglomerate for all those Drive Car Vroom teams, doing pretty good. 3 teams in the top 5, they'll take it any day.
Yeah, TSE's been dominating a lot of the divisional standings, so they're going to be very happy with that.
Very indeed. Let's jump over to the driver's standings. Currently leading us, Matt Lehman, 402, not far behind. Jeremy Mercer, only behind by 34 points. Michael Menning, 336 points, only 66 points behind. Peter O'Brien, P4. Rounding out top 5, Javier Marquez, 116 points behind. All positions pretty grabbable for right now. Take a look at the back half of the grid. As you can see, our returning driver Alex Chilcutt down in P39, looking to get a better position after this race. Could actually skyrocket his chances here to finish pretty high in the championship if he does well.
Well, I mean, a win would bring him up to 154 points, so that'd bring him inside the top 20. And we do still have 2 more races after this.
Correct. Everything's still up to grabs here. It's only week 6. We still have week 7, week 8 to go, and we got the tracks.
As do I. I'd just like to let them come week to week.
Next week is Silverstone, so a pretty flowy track and kind of even playing ground in the final week of Valencia. Not a lot of practice probably from everyone. The newest track to Assetto Corsa Competizione. So should get a good race there as we are getting our brakes and tires warmed up. I have to ask the question, Josh. Is rain the great equalizer here?
Here, I'm not sure specifically, but I think everywhere it does kind of equalize a lot. So, generally speaking, I'd call it the great equalizer.
I mean, we are seeing, what is that, four different manufacturers in the top 5 right now.
I mean, we've been seeing that all season, though. There's been a lot of cars that have been, like, throughout the practice sessions and stuff, dominating the boards, or one that seems to like a car or like a track instantly better than others. But by the time we get down to qualifying, it's pretty well shaken up.
It's a very interesting thing that happens here this season as we are lying double file here for the start. I believe if you're far back enough, you might actually end up starting on the curve. I could be wrong there.
I'm not sure how far back it is, but with the size of the pack tonight, it won't be too many drivers.
Yeah, so your main camera on screen will try to capture most of the front end action here on the start. Your picture-in-picture window will try to catch the back half as we are down onto the pit straight. Getting ready to race here. And we are off and away for SRA, and it's a good launch from Alex Choka on the racing line, coming up on the outside of Marquez. Little contact there, but leaves the door open here for Neville now. Neville trying his hand at Alex Choka here down on the inside through the S's. Real tricky place to go too wide here. Choka squeezing Neville to the outside. Neville going to give that position up. Choka will run away with it. Kerstetter trying to defend the position now from Mercer. Stallsworth trying to do everything as we all file in line. A couple cars getting into the grass, but no real damage just yet. Everyone now single file for the most part up in front. Lehman looks to be side by side with someone in the picture-in-picture window.
Yeah, he's right up on the inside of Gomer Wilson, gets that overtake done. The back half also staying pretty clean. Almost every marker board is gone now, but all the cars are still present.
That will spell for chaos later, as there's a couple of tags on certain cars in the background there, but everyone pretty much single file here now as Donington does. And I wonder when this pit window opens, do we see a ton of people dive into the pits?
I'm not sure. As much as it's a good idea to try and get yourself into clean air, the pit entry here is really awkward and hard to get yourself across the racetrack and into. It might be more dangerous to try and jump out of a pack and into the pits.
We'll see how it works as Alex Choka trying to close this gap very slightly, getting a not so good exit out there, but is able to keep the grip and keep that gap in between the cars. Marquez doing a great job at holding his position for the time being. Everyone else pretty spaced out, single filed, no one really going to get Alvor except for that Audi there.
Yeah, we just caught Sam Rick go up the inside at the last corner on Dan Cran. Pretty clean move. Seems to be a lot of grip on the partial dry line, so I'm sure some overtakes will come soon.
As drivers get a little bit more fatigued and a little bit more mistakes start clawing in, we'll see that as the top three is starting to break away here. Kerstetter is now a second back from Neville. Not what you want to see if you're Kerstetter. You are now essentially vulnerable here to Mercer. That spray.
Matt Lehman sizes up a bit of a switchback up into the blind right-hander at the top of the hill. Sticks the move.
Griffith, will he be able to come back on him though?
I don't think he's going to have the run. That inside line there has a lot of standing water. Well-made move in the McLaren from Lehman. I think that's 3 positions he's up now.
Doing his work. He's got to make up for his teammate that is not here tonight, Neville.
My mistake. He has made up 2 positions, but is still down. Oh no. Race controls backwards. He is up 3 positions. It's saying down 3, but he started in 16th. So technically, yeah, his number went down 3, but
I believe we saw Mr. Sir peel off into the pits there. So we have our first pitter of the night as well as Griffith. Sparks will take his pit as well. And Quigg will also take his pit. So see where those drivers come out, wanting to get out of the pack. It does seem like this line is going to continue for a while.
yeah, there seems to be a few cars that are separating just difference in pace, but I mean, once you find a groove and you get in it, you almost get more comfortable in the spray.
It's true. You also kind of memorize that line a little bit more as you're behind the car and you know what the driver in front is doing. And you just kind of wait for them to make that mistake, and then you take advantage. You jump all over that. As Bray took a little too much curb on the inside, will Majid be able to make up for it? No, as he went deep, won't be able to get enough traction. Will actually lose time to Bray there. So maybe that was all calculated from Bray. drivers. Battle's already starting to kind of fizzle out for the most part. Very hard track to overtake at, it seems.
Definitely have to have it sorted, as Pierce looks like he's got a little bit of a run on the outside of Dan Cran here. Dan's going to get checked up a bit by the Ferrari in front, but Tony's not going to have enough drive to make that move stick. But will he have the line to go up the inside in the last corner? Dan opens up the door and he's going to stick his nose up the inside. That's an overtake.
It is, but I believe they are still side by side here coming down the turn 1. Dan Cran should be on the preferred line here, but will that standing water in the braking zone send him off? No, he will be able to stick that move, and back in line they go.
Not necessarily, because that's a bit of a switchback. Whole lot of acceleration from Pierce, and he's going to have the dry line again. Not necessarily an area to go too wide, and they realize that. They're going to foul back in for the time being and try again in a safer area.
Pierce does look to want pass extremely bad, and this might actually open the door for the car behind them as well.
Yeah, I think Dan may have realized that pace difference, and I wonder if he's just going to hold them off and jump into the pits, or if he's just going to play defense for a while and let them deal with the consequences.
What to see, we are coming up on the pit lane. Kerstetter closed the gap to the top 3 again and lost it again. Things happening in the front. Chilcutt now went a second back of Marquez in one corner.
Yeah, just a big increase there, and I don't know. You take one corner gently, and all of a sudden, that car ahead who's constantly pushing. I don't know. That's a big difference in the wet.
It is.
If you're not pushing at all times, you're not making those lap times.
At the same time, you push too hard, you end up in the grass. Pierce.
So the inverse happens. Pierce comes into the pits.
Generally, if you are the following car, you want to pit to get out of the way, because that slower car is going to be a lot harder to pass, especially in the wet here. Neville is trying to close the door to Chilcutt, but losing out to Marquez for the time being. We'll have to keep an eye on that gap for now. Mr. Sir is going to be our front, or not, sorry, not Mr. Sir. Menning will be our front leader of people who have pit. Not far behind Mr. Sir, about 0.6 of a second. So, the big pit window has blessed us again with dispersing some battles.
Yeah, now we get to host a talk show for the next 44 minutes.
That's true, that is true. We got a Formula 1 this that's your podcast talk over there. Well, if you haven't already, check out Grid Report on YouTube. Sim Racing Alliance YouTube. Go check that out. Fun time. Or Billy was sick in the last one.
Yeah, he was a little bit under the weather. I was battling a bit of sickness myself. Pushed the recording all the way back to late weekend instead of the typical Friday night. But that's okay. Do what you gotta do. Stromo closes up on the back of Fazley here. Hanging out at 3/10, just letting them know you may not have a car right in front of you, but you got one in your mirrors. Don't make a mistake.
I actually see his car kind of poke out to the side of him as well. It's just to kind of, let him know, like, hey, I'm here.
Sometimes in the wet, I wonder if that's just trying to figure out, hey, where am I?
I mean, that is also part of the thing. When it's in the wet, it's getting out of the spray, seeing your braking point, and sometimes it's actually to catch some clean air so you can get some downforce on the car and help you turn in a little bit more. But it's also a mind game.
Think about that one.
Neville falling off from Chilcutt. Chilcutt actually gaining on Marquez now.
Bit of a yo-yo back and forth. All of their pace staying pretty close together.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. Where did Menning? What laps is Menning doing? 31.8 is currently was his last lap. That is about on par or faster than our leaders right now. So he's on track to he's on track to stay there, but not get in front. We'll have to keep a close eye on where he comes out. Neville finally closing the door a bit more, and Chilcutt finally closing the door a bit more, where Marquez is starting to have some issues with his car. And now is around about the time, if you overinflated your tires, you're probably feeling it at this point.
Oh yeah, you're pushing. You've been having to do a little bit of defending. The track is dry, so you don't really have the opportunity to let the water cool them down. You're stuck in no man's land if you got your pressures wrong.
Unless you want to take 30 seconds in the pits to change your tires and fix your pressures, you're stuck with them.
Exactly.
Now, we saw Neville getting extremely close to Chilcutt, practically pushing him through the chicane. Won't do anything with it though, no contact, but we will just slot right back in line time being. But I think this is currently our the closest battle we've had all season for P1 right now.
I don't have the memory to confirm or deny that, but I'll definitely take it for the time being.
Yeah,
I'd love to see how long this sticks out.
should go. There seems to be mistakes that go hand in hand. Chilcutt makes a mistake, Marquez makes a mistake, and Neville's just there to kind of push the two along for the time being. I think Neville's just waiting for his moment to jump on it. He also currently has the fastest lap of a 31.6. So stuck behind Chilcutt might be a little bit of a disadvantage for him right now because he is making mistakes, and Neville is literally all over the bumper of Chilcutt. Not going to be able to do a move here just yet. We'll have to try to stick on it. But Chilcutt making mistakes is now starting to bring Kerstetter, Mercer, Stallworth, and Nixon here into this battle.
Bring on the train.
I'm ready for it. The wet is just a hazy mist. As we say, bring on the train. The gaps have grown. Chilcutt 1.2 to Marquez now. Kerstetter is now second back from Neville. Now Stallworth is a second back from Mercer. So, we're just all over the caster curse tonight.
I don't like it.
I have so much power. Neville trying to get any kind of better exit than Chilcutt here to make any sort of dive. He might actually just have to lunge it at some point when he's least expecting it, but for now, we'll just stay in line. They're making up time to Marquez, but not a ton. Mercer right behind them is starting to get pretty close as well. As you can see in your picture-in-picture window how close Neville just is from the dashboard cam. The spray's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's still pretty terrible. Neville going deep in the braking zone. We'll end up making that mistake and losing a ton of time to Chilcutt. Luckily, Kerstetter won't be close enough to seize the opportunity.
Yeah, that almost looked like a difference of speed at the apex. Like Neville wanted to carry more than Chilcutt would allow him. We may see an overtake coming soon. Or one of these drivers jump into the pits.
I think Neville definitely has the speed to outpace Chilcutt currently and give a battle to Marquez. It's all about getting past Chilcutt and handling it. But where do you do it?
His biggest gap has been at the penultimate corner. It seems that Neville's had a lot more braking grip there. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these runs, if he's close enough, that may be where he makes his move.
Could see it. It's Aston Martin working wonders in the wet here for the first time this season. You see the Aston actually doing decent. Neville also seems to be gaining a ton of time through these S's. I wonder if Chilcutt's actually having the lift that Ferrari, and Neville's just able to take it flat out. So maybe an overtake at the bottom of the hill would suffice, but there needs to be a lot of trucks going through there. It's Matt Lehman sizing up Fazli Majid here, literally all over the back of him. Coming up to the turn, Majid leaving enough space on the outside for Lehman. Can Lehman find enough grip out there? It looks like he does, but he's on that curb now, and that doesn't give him any traction. Might now open the door here for Wilson. Both cars go defensive. Wilson will just sit back for the time being. Lehman's now all over the back of Majid right now. Wilson's looking to pick up some scraps. Lehman might have to actually defend here against Wilson. Wilson looking up the inside of the chicane, will tuck right back in and hold position.
Everybody got a little bit excited there.
Can all pick up in a matter of a second. Lehman's still over the back. Majid's actually going to make a braking error. We'll go a little too close to the apex. Might open the door here for Lehman to take him on the final turn. He's literally on the back of him. Majid going defensive. We'll give the outside line to Lehman. There's a lot more grip out there. Majid is going to hold that inside line, parking on the apex. Lehman tried to do a switchback, but will instead dive straight into the pits.
Yeah, I think he had enough of that very fast. But I am not going to waste my time with this battle. I'm faster than you. I'll see you later.
I can't blame him enough. Back on board with Neville, still trying to size up a move on Chilcutt. Kerstetter and Mercer are now here in the battle, waiting for any scraps to be taken. It looks like Lehman will actually come out. Where will Lehman come out? Behind Dromo. Not a huge fall. Definitely seen worse.
Definitely.
Looking at the weather radar, doesn't seem to be any change in rain increase or decrease for the next half an hour. So this looks to be our conditions for pretty much the rest of the race.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in D1's complaining with this. You know, it's on the... It seemed like it was on the heavier side at the start of things, but now that the dry lines come into play, it almost looks like quali.
And that's kind of what you get when you start going in line here. Right now, it's Neville. I think Neville's being a little bit apprehended from the cars in front. Majid will now go into the pits along with Calvin Lau. I think if Neville can get past Chilcutt, we'll see a pretty intense battle with Marquez with Neville. But it's all about where. Where do you do it? Where do you take them by surprise? Neville all over the back of Chilcutt still. And down to the chicane, seems a little bit faster, and Chilcutt is catching that draft as well, but not going to be able to poke out and do anything with it yet. If he can stay close enough, it might size up a move down to the penultimate corner, but we'll actually have an issue at the chicane. Chilcutt will get away, put a gap on. Neville will not be able to do any move this lap. What you got going on over there, Josh? A little inline action over here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put the camera on some drivers that, at least my brain is telling me, we haven't been watching too much, or people that aren't typically up in the hottest of battles. Paremba sneaking on the back of Snell Train here, looking at 10th place. He's been hanging out about 5-6 tenths back, just waiting for the right opportunity to strike, or waiting for that ever-coveted mistake in front.
We are waiting for a mistake from one of these top drivers. Marquez seems to be kind of off into the wind here. Second back.
Pierce and Nick Sander going side by side through Sector 1. Pierce up the inside. It looks like he's going to hold that position for now. What a move. Oh, as they bump doors. I'm going to go back 30 seconds.
Webbins racing.
It all started... Looks like it all started at turn 1. Pierce took the inside, and nobody wanted to yield. I guess there's enough of a dry line now that you can make that work.
There is... Oh, wow. Nice clean battle.
Definitely. Well done for both of those drivers to maximize their amount of road. Yeah, a little bit of rubbing, but at a certain point in that left-hander, you're just holding on for dear life, hoping the car doesn't slide itself off the road.
That is true. Early on in the race, you can actually see drivers kind of, if they're in a battle, they prefer the line offline, as is technically the more grippier line from what I know. If the racing line is wet and it puddles up, it actually has more greasiness to it. So we'll see drivers kind of take the outside, but since we have a dry line here, it's all about the inside. Little tidbit of information I got told over the weekend.
Keep that in mind. Marquez's gap to, I don't know if you said that, dropped a little bit. Did he make a mistake there?
He might be Chilka getting faster. Maybe Neville was actually just straight up pushing Chilka as well. Kind of closed that gap a bit. But it is closing. It's now within a second right now. We kind of have a train for the lead right now. Marquez, the Chilcutt, the Neville, the Kersetter, the Mercer. Stallworth kind of hanging in the wings. Same with Nixon. They're all back there waiting for something to happen. But that would be our main train, as Marquez actually ended up going a little bit deep in the braking zone there. Might spook Chilcutt a little bit because that gap did not shrink at all.
As Rust is into the pits.
Neville still closing that gap more and more and more. I think it's time for Neville to start making a move. Even though we do have 37 minutes left, it might be time to start making that move so we can size up Marquez a little bit more. But Chilka is just able to take this chicane so much better than Neville, it seems like. Well, especially when your exit is like that. It might actually open the door to Kersetter here. If Kersetter can find the speed, won't be able to do anything from there. But that gap shrunk to the back. Neville now going to have to make up a lot of time. Currently second back from Chilcutt. But if Neville does the laps that he was doing, should be no problem. This front batch is pretty much our only battle on track right now. We do have Quig closing up on Sparks in the back half of the field. Saw Neville almost losing it. Picture-in-picture window. O'Brien is closing in on Lehman, but nothing too huge right now.
Quig looks like he's getting a better run out of these hairpins on Sparks.
Might be the difference maker here if he can set it up for turn 1 or a penultimate turn. He flashing?
I think he's got his four-ways on. You calling yourself a hazard?
Yes. Chilcutt closing up to the back of Marquez more and more and more, but not able to keep it there long enough to size up a move. We'll just see more cars in line, and actually we'll invite more people into this train. Right now as it sits, Neville and Nixon currently getting a good batch of points here today for their team. Stallsworth half a second behind Mercer. Mercer is closing the gap to Crusader, but nothing really coming just yet. That's kind of been the mantra for this entire race. Stay in line, don't deviate from it. We will have to see if that stays the case in the last 5 minutes.
As we near the midpoint of the race, we've got just over half the drivers have pitted.
Yeah, it's been a good mix of strategies. Menning is going to be leading us for drivers who have pit. Mr. Sir, who had a 5/10 gap to Menning, now is sitting about 2 seconds back from him. Mr. Sir not seeing the benefits from pitting early right now. Chilcutt might see the benefits from braking later than Marquez. Will have to back out of the move as Marquez took a very defensive line. But this might open the door for Chilcutt to do a move here in another corner. Might try one on the inside here. No, we'll just stick in line for now. Needs to be careful of Neville behind because he is now all over the bumper of Chilcutt again. Marquez, not the best of exits. Chilcutt is closing that gap here down the main straight, but too far back to do anything with it.
Yeah, it looked like Marquez got himself in the grass at the exit at the penultimate corner too, so that definitely compromised his exit. But like you said, not enough to make a move. And with the Aston Martin right in your bumper, you need to make sure it's getting you past.
Chilcutt's still right there. Neville is still right there. Chilcutt actually getting a very poor exit. Neville might look for something on the inside if he's willing, but we'll decide against it. Marquez going a bit deep, but hitting that apex pretty perfectly. Everyone follows in line. Mercer is about a 10th back from Kerstetter right now, right behind them, practically pushing the car along. Might try something here down into the chicane if he can get a big enough draft and a big enough run on him. Might make a move. Neville poke their nose out to look in it. But nothing comes of this. Can Chilcutt get a good enough exit to challenge Marquez into the penultimate corner? No, will not come. Can Mercer do anything? No, we'll just stay in line there as well. Neville literally pushing Chilcutt practically.
Yeah, I think there's a big speed difference there, and it's really compromising Chilcutt's ability to get the exit he wants in that penultimate corner.
I did also just realize we are down a driver.
Oh, who do we lose?
I believe we lost Fazli Majid.
Oh no.
Can confirm it was a disconnect.
No. Rest in peace. He was having a great race.
He was having a decent race in the Lamborghini. Outlet for him to disconnect. The battles in front have kind of fizzled. We seem to be getting we peak for about 2 minutes, maybe a lap or two, and then we kind of go back to, okay, I'll just follow in line now.
Yeah, everyone gets ambitious, pokes the bear a couple times and says, are you awake? It says no, and it goes, all right, I'm going to walk away then.
I think they're just doing this for screen time. They know if they just hold this gap, they're constantly on stream here.
Maybe. These drivers have been around for quite a while now, so they do know how it works.
Fazli in chat saying basically calling himself a massive wall.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. We're gaining quite the train here in the front. Marquez to Chilcutt to Neville to Cursor to Mercer to Stallworth, and Nixon is coming in and out of that second gap right now. It's all getting kind of spicy a little bit. No one really going for a move. Everyone just kind of waiting for someone's mistakes. No one able to capitalize just yet. Neville braking later than Chilcutt, so late they actually almost went into the back of Chilcutt. So we now have Dan Cran into the pits.
You're at the halfway mark.
We've officially hit the halfway point. So 30 minutes left in the race, about 27 and a half minutes left in pit window for the top 11 to get their pit in. Currently everyone in dirty air here. We have a pretty good spread across track right now. There's a few holes, but for the most part there's a car in every place. Cursor is going to go deep in that corner. Might actually open the door here for Mercer if he can get a better exit. Will not get that exit. Cursor will keep that position. As Nixon dives out of the line and goes into the pits. We have our first pitter from the front. Keep an eye on his times and see where he ends up coming out of the pits.
Noticing we did also lose Sam Rack.
Oh, we did. Oh, that one's recent.
Yeah, just checking over the chats and answering a message. Noticed that they said anyone got disconnected.
Damn. So Neville will come out behind Mr. Sir. And Mr. Sir could have a real shot here for the top 3 now. With that massive undercut. But Neville is right on the bumper of Mr. Sir. This could either be extremely good for Mr. Sir or really bad for Mr. Sir. We'll have to see. Keep an eye on those timetables, see where everyone else pits, but if we leave Neville here in the clean air with Mr. Sir for too long, we might see a big undercut. That also means with Menning having about a 2-second gap or a 3-second gap in front of Mr. Sir, Menning could be in for a win tonight as well. Stallworth will dive into the pits away from that train now as well. Pit strategy kind of night, Josh.
Yes, sir. Pit strategy kind of night.
Feels almost Monaco-esque to F1 right now.
Well, Monaco's a little bit more of get in front, stay in front, and don't mess up the pit stop. But
I mean,
this track is just kind of don't screw up for an hour straight.
That's true.
There's not really room for error. Like runoffs alone, it's a track that demands you be on the gas pedal as much as possible, or at least carrying as much speed as you can. So if you're not able to do that,
Not gonna make it.
nope.
As we do see Neville, looks like he made a mistake. So we'll drop off of Mr. Sir for the time being. Return to this front battle that's still raging on. Wonder if anyone else will kind of get the idea to pit and come out in the clean air right now. Stallworth came out behind Neville. This is putting Menning and Mr. Sir in a very good position right now. Chilcutt still trying to catch Marquez. Cursor staying in the wings, closing the gap to Chilcutt. Mercer also staying there, closing the gap to Cursor. do believe Neville was Neville P. Yes, Neville was P3 when he pit.
That is correct.
Want Marquez, Chilcutt, Neville, and Kersetter. And if Neville was P3 when he pit, that means Mr. Sir could have a P2. All to see here as 25 minutes left in the race. Who will be the first one to make a mistake of our front pack? Marquez kind of getting off easy here. Chilcutt looks to be making a mistake. Kersetter has a lot of speed coming down to the chicane here. Will he poke out? He does poke out. Chilcutt is just going to take the outside line. Kersetter diving back in. We'll hold off for the time being. Actually, he'll compromise his chicane. Taking a little bit of the gravel might open the door here for Mercer. Mercer going to take the outside line. Kersetter is going to go to the fence. They touch a little bit. Mercer is still holding that outside line. They still touch. Kersetter not able to just hold that inside line. We'll end up making contact with Mercer a little bit and might actually invite Nixon back into the battle here. A little bit of excitement.
Yeah, I was going to say a bit of an exciting overtake.
Or a defense. It looked very promising for Kersetter, and then it all kind of fell down. As that battle kind of fizzles out, Paremba will be off into the pits and will release Menning, try to close this gap to Marquez. Currently, it's 27.5 seconds. Josh, I don't know if you have data on pit stops.
I do have data on pit stops.
Let me hear it.
We had a checking 27 seconds flag to flag, 28 flag to flag for someone with a 5-second stop.
We're looking
There's a bit of variance.
We're looking roughly about 30 seconds, depending on how hard you can hit your stopping points.
Yeah, and even though you don't get the ability to accelerate up to turn 1, you are almost right there, so
You're right
I don't
on the
know,
racing line.
35 seconds?
It's going to be an interesting one to see. I'd be surprised if anyone changes tires, given how resilient the wet tires are. Chilcutt actually went deep there, and Kersetter is going to try to take advantage of it. Chilcutt not able to get the power down, ended up throwing out the back end. Kersetter is going to come down here on the outside down in the turn 1. Chilcutt is still holding that inside line, preferred line. Kersetter holding all the speed on the outside. Will get that track for himself, but Chilcutt will eventually just power him out. And this now opens the door here for Mercer to come in. Kersetter still trying to find a way out and around Chilcutt, not able to do anything. We'll just slot right back in line.
Yeah, and Mercer's already looking for a gap here. He does not want to lose this opportunity. As we get closer to the end of the race, you don't really know how many more you're going to have.
You're not only 22 minutes left in the race. I know we raced for an hour long, but 22 minutes is a short amount of time at this very point. It's all about lapping here in the wet, and it doesn't seem like a lot of these cars are lapping where they want to be. We're only setting 32s and 33s. Whereas Menning is setting 31s. Everyone funneling in line, waiting for mistakes. And that mistake on Chilcutt might have awakened him a little bit. I've nudged him. Realized, oh, there's other cars on the track.
Yeah, it just might have awakened the beast a little bit.
Oop.
As half the battle jumps into the pits.
Mr. Nixon will go into the pits. Kersetter will stay out chasing Chilcutt. See how those two go on. Chilcutt's going to actually make a mistake here on the exit of turn 1. We'll give the inside line to Kersetter. He will take that position right off of Chilcutt.
Yeah, and without much of a fight back, I mean, he had the grip and a beautiful run down the hill. Chilcutt did not have the opportunity to defend. What an unfortunate mistake.
We'll just slot right back in line right now, but what happens, you make a mistake, he catches you out right away. Kersetter now in free air, see what he can do in the clean air. Maybe close this gap to Marquez now. Menning is now officially under 26 seconds to Marquez. So this is essentially, as long as Menning doesn't mess up anywhere, this is essentially Menning's race right now.
So to speak, yeah. And Mercer and Nixon also coming out in front of Mr. Sir and Eric Neville. That's a shame. I mean, coming from P3 before the pit stop, it's really not worked in his favor tonight.
Really. Oh. It's worked in his favor.
It's not.
Menning pit on P3, no? Or was it Neville?
Neville was P3.
Yep, my bad. Yeah, it really has not worked in his favor, but he's still behind Mr. Sir, but he's getting held up. And Mr. Sir is within kind of striking distance of Nixon.
As Chilcutt's into the pits.
That battle between Cursor and Chilcutt Wolf as well. We'll probably see Chilcutt. I bet we see him come out behind Neville here.
Gonna hop on board with him in the pits and see just where he comes out. He's about to leave the pits.
Does get jumped
Right
by
behind
Menning. Well, this opens the door for Mercer.
And Nixon's right behind him as they come into turn 1. Big twitch from Chilcutt, and he's going to have to get his tires up to temperature real fast.
Yeah, because Nixon is all over the back of Chilcutt on front warm tires as well. We'll have to see how this battle plans out. Battle behind is Mr. Sir and Neville. Mr. Sir doing a good job of just holding them up. Might have to pick up the pace here if he wants to kind of jump Kerstetter, Marquez, and Bray. I think they will get Bray, but Kerstetter and Marquez, they might have to pick up the pace for.
Yeah, just possibly. But any slips from the top drivers, and they're going to lose a lot of positions here.
Oh, yeah. Menning is essentially taking this race. In my book.
It's going to be tough for those Lamborghinis to be beat tonight.
Gosh, what if we have a Menning Mercer 1-2? Lamborghini 1-2?
That, I think, would be a first in D1 so far this season.
It's gonna be a little hard to get drive through penalty for track cuts on this track.
Agreed.
Nixon might have a better run on Chilcutt than he thought. We'll try him on the outside. Chilcutt will go defensive. Nixon is just going to slot right back in line, but Chilcutt's going to go very wide. Nixon almost pushing him.
Looked like Nixon really wanted the switchback, but Chilcutt smartly parking it on the apex a little bit. Some call it cheeky, some call it tactical. I call it a good move. Oh, as Nixon gets on the curb there in the braking zone, and that's definitely going to send you to the grass. That's at least 2 positions.
Doing good to hold it together and at least not slide off the track, but that does give the position to Mr. Sir and Neville. Gives Chilcutt some breathing space for the time being.
It also puts Stallworth right on the back of Nixon, and Stallworth looks hungry to get this position as well.
They are right there. It is all kind of kicking off here. 17 minutes to go, so now's the time to get anything done. We have someone in the pits. Who is that? Poremba. I believe he actually returned to pits. He didn't drive in.
Could be the case.
And he's gone.
He's unfortunately left. I wonder if they've had an error, but I mean, 17 minutes left. 24th. That's really good points.
You grab points there. You stay alive in this race, you grab points either way.
Exactly.
Neville. Now going to start facing some wrath to Nixon and Stallsworth on the back. Mr. Sir doing a good job just putting himself in front as Marquez has a yellow flag. What happened?
I do not know.
Coming down. Ooh. Came down the hill, lost traction, and
that's that spot of the racetrack that seems to be eating a lot of people. It's the one spot that's killing me in my practice. That curb that we just saw eat Nixon up. That one's been that whole area. It's very easy to lose the car on your way down the hill.
Very
slightly
much
too much
is.
confidence and think you can go flat out. It's just, I don't think it's there in the wet.
If you've watched the battle, kind of in the background, we haven't really focused on a lot between Mr. Sir and Neville. You can actually see them come down the hill, and by the time they get to their braking zone, their cars are pretty much drifting. And they brake and they kind of like snap back into straight lines. It's a real fun thing to see, but I think Marquez there just kind of over drifted per se. But you know who's that? What that is good for?
What is that?
Menning and Mercer are now essentially 1 and 2. Chilcutt possibly, depending on how hard Kersetter and Marquez can hit their marks. This has thrown a bit of a wrench in the pit plan.
Definitely has.
As this train keeps chugging away, Mr. Sir catching up to the back of Alex Chilcutt. I believe they are they teammates? I believe so. Right? No?
We are checking.
Pretty sure. Champion Motorsport Ghost Rider. Yeah.
There you
They're
go.
teammates. Do we see team orders here if they get up on, if Mr. Sir gets up on the back of Chilcutt and says, I'm faster than you?
I don't even think he's got to say it. I mean, not like Chilcutt's not going fast, but he is moving a little bit backwards.
Mr. Sir is easily catching him. Now the gap is 3/10. Was about over a second just a few laps ago. So Mr. Sir is cooking. Let him cook. Chilcutt going to take to the grass for a little bit. We'll invite Mr. Sir to the outside, but won't bite for it. So we'll just slide right back in line. Slides a little bit through the chicane. Gap from Menning to Kersetter, P1, 24.5 seconds. Mercer's 26 seconds. Chilcutt is kind of the one that's in no man's land with 29 seconds. We said the time lost in pit from flag to flag is around 28, right?
Yeah, right around there. So Chilcutt's right on that border.
So either driver needs to start pushing a little bit. Marquez is actually now 3 seconds back to Kersetter. So Marquez might actually lose a lot of positions here from this train.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out just behind Stallworth in this fight if he was to opt to come in and pit right now. So
Doesn't seem like... Good.
I was going to say it's a shame he's essentially lost the win from a little bit ago, but I don't know.
He's gonna have
I don't
to
know.
go.
You don't know these things on track as a driver, but if you did, I don't think I could handle that.
That's why we all have... Well, we don't all have. That's why some of us get race engineers. That's why they do it professionally. They have race engineers to tell them, hey, the gap to this car, hey, the gap to this car. Hey, we pit, but the car that we were fighting before we pit, our gap is now within range. We'll overtake them. So you kind of have all that information from a pit wall, essentially. But here at SRA, we don't really have those. Or at least not voluntarily, as Mr. Sir going very slow on the apex. Neville physically pushing the rear end of Mr. Sir. I'm wondering now if Mr. Sir is playing team game and just backing up these cars for Chilcutt.
Could be, but that's a long time to back up cars. 12 minutes.
Well, all you gotta do, according to Fazley, is be a brick wall.
Yeah.
Take notes, kids.
Take notes.
But Neville is all over the back of Mr. Sir. Could theoretically go for a dive here down at the bottom if he's feeling brave enough. Not going to do it. Mr. Sir able to hold enough speed. Everyone back in line. And this is a team-on-team battle right now. Neville and Nixon, I believe, are a TYR sim racing team. Nixon all over the back of Neville. Not really sure if they're gonna fight each other. Nixon might just try to coax Neville on to get Mr. Sir and do it himself. Stallworth waiting in the wings for anything to happen right now. Any kind of chaos. He's kind of in the prime position right now, because if anything happens, he can react to it pretty fast.
Yeah, just find the open lane and take the free real estate.
Correct, as the gap to Chilcutt is closing right now, as Wilson will be into the pits. Just under 8 minutes left in the pit window. We'll probably see a lot more people kind of dive in here in about 5 or 6 laps, maybe 4. But it is getting a little bit spicy at the end.
Always a little bit of spice here at SRA.
It's a little bit.
The Spice Racing Alliance.
Spice Racing. I'm pensioning this to change the name. I'll send it in to Doug right away. Stallworth closing the gap. A 10th on the back of Nixon. Could be pushing him if he wants to. Might look up on the inside here. Actually going to take to the grass and make a mistake. Is able to recollect the car quite nicely to save it. Won't lose a ton of time.
Definitely looked to the inside, but looked a little bit too far.
I don't think it was expecting the grass there. Mr. Sir now 2/10 back from Chilcutt, looking up inside on the chicane, deciding against it. Slots back in line. Just over 9 minutes left in the race. Now's your time. You want to start looking for moves here. Mr. Sir going defensive on Neville. Parking on the apex. We'll hold Neville and Nixon behind. This team fight is getting underway quite nicely right now, as Neville really wanting to go, but Mr. Sir just parking on the apex. What else we got going on around the track, Josh?
Was taking a look at Gomer Wilson and Matt Lehman, but that fizzled out pretty quickly. Calvin Lau, Nick Sand, and Tony Pierce have been hanging out together for the last 10 minutes here in the back half of the field, but other than that, everybody's just kind of driving, bringing it home. I mean, Patrick Rust is staring down 30 points, looking at, probably just wanting to end this race off, and I'm sure a lot of drivers are feeling the same way.
23 for 30 points. That sounds like a good day for me. Dead last and you get 30 points, sign me up.
Agreed. I will take that every day.
Mr. Sir once again closing up to the back of Chilcutt. Won't make a move on his teammate. We'll just sit behind through the chicane. Is everyone on the lead lap? That, my friend, is a absolutely outstanding question.
Yes.
I believe so.
Patrick Rust is only a minute 25 back.
Yep. So he could get consumed here shortly, but for the time being, everyone will lead lap. And I think that's how we're going to finish the race as well, with everyone on the lead lap, which it's been a while since we've had that.
Yeah, it's a nice change.
Again, this train of cars absolutely making their way through the course. Neville about 2/10 back on Mr. Sir. Could theoretically look for a move at some point in this lap, but needs to close that gap just a little bit.
Definitely.
As
Looking at
Marquez
speaking of
has a
gaps.
drive-through.
Oh.
How'd you get that? As Mr. Sir's actually going to go for a move here on Chilcutt. Mr. Sir taking that inside away from Chilcutt. Chilcutt will actually now lose out to Neville and possibly Nixon here coming down to the chicane. Chilcutt trying to get that draft, but the teammate will move over to give his teammate the draft. Chilcutt's going to look to outbrake. Will be able to do it. Mr. Sir will come away with that place. And now it's Neville who gets on the gravel a little bit. Might open the door for Chilcutt around the outside. Nixon's going to try to follow his teammate all the way through the inside line. Chilcutt's going to take to the outside. Has enough speed. Is out there holding it around town. does have the space there. Now coming down to the final corner to possibly try a move on Neville here. Might have to switch right back in line, but breaks just late enough to poke his nose up on the inside. And now we're double too wide, and there's contact between Chilcutt and Stallworth. Stallworth gonna be fine, but we'll be slowing down. Chilcutt gets away nicely. We'll take the position still. Neville fighting back here on the inside of turn 1. Chilcutt slams the door shut.
As it all seems to be kicking off, Pierce gets spun around in the backfield here. Penultimate corner. Ooh, as it looks like the Porsche, number 105, Nick Sand, jumped for a late move there. Just a little bit of quarter panel contact with some water, and that's going to send you around.
Neville back in a familiar place right behind Chilcutt here. Can smell the exhaust from inside his cockpit right now. And I can confirm that after Marquez's drive-through, he is behind Menning. So Menning is our leader of the race, essentially. Has been for a bit, but Marquez still needs to pit now, so he's going to drop even farther in standings. So he has to clear out that mandatory fueling as Neville looks to the inside of Chilcutt on the penultimate corner. Won't do it there. We can get a good enough run. We have Bray and Snell trained into the pits now. We'll promote Menning into P2 for the time being. Kursar leads the race right now. Chilcutt having to fend off these two teammates of TYR, Tier Racing. Doing a great job. Bray comes out in front of Mr. Sir. Bray needs to light those tires up before Mr. Sir finds the opportunity to grab them. Currently not going to be able to do that move just yet. Neville down to the bottom of the hill. Will he find enough speed and courage to take the inside? Won't do it there. We'll slide right back in line. Mr. Sir now on Bray. Closing the gap very fast. Might try for a move. We'll decide against it. We'll just stay here. Might try to get a little bit more exit speed. Try to do the same move as he did on his teammate up the hill. Not going to have enough speed for it. We'll just slide right back in behind Bray as we come down to the chicane. Mr. Sir didn't look to get a good exit off of that one. Neville not getting a good enough exit either. Kerstetter into the pits. This should promote Menning to our race leader. So Mr. Sir tried for something, didn't do well on it. Chilcutt trying to hold off. Neville actually going a bit wide there, so we'll fizzle out that battle. Nixon is right on the back of him. Menning into the lead. Mercer to P2. Kursar will stay in P3 with a healthy gap behind him. So that looks to be our top three. Bray to Mr. Sir right now. Neville still over the back of Chilcutt. We have just over 2 minutes in the race. Probably about 2 more laps. If there's any time to get your move done, now's the time.
Yeah, any battles that have not already started popping off are going to be going now.
Neville not able to do a move down at the bottom of the hill, but had a lot of speed on Chilcutt. Pulling it together. And get enough exit speed here. He does take to the grass a bit, so we'll compromise some of it. Breaks later than Chilcutt, but can he hold the speed through the corner and take it all the way down to the chicane? Chilcutt gets a little bit in the grass. We'll compromise his speed. Neville trying to find a way around Chilcutt. Chilcutt gives Neville the inside. Neville's going to take the inside. We'll try for it. Side by side, they go through the chicane. Chilcutt will have that move done. They both collide. Through goes Nixon, and Nixon will take that place from Chilcutt and Neville.
And that's that opportunistic space right there, being ready for the mistake ahead, and not just one position, but you get two.
Right, man. The leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
The final lap has been started from Menning. It's just been casually, hot lapping for the most part. Chilcutt now going to try to make up that gap back to Nixon. It is a decent sized gap for just one lap. We'll have to see how it goes, but this train is now starting to reform after the pit stops. Dromo now on the back of Neville. Could Dromo actually find a position here as well? No one really in any position to make a move just yet. Mr. Sir's not in a position. Dromo currently the closest person on track right now to Neville, but doesn't look to have the speed to make any kind of move. Decent exits while everyone should lock in the position unless something weird happens down into the chicane. Chilcutt's still leading this train. Nixon is just ahead of him. Chilcutt taking that decently clean. Neville real close on the back of Chilcutt now, but doesn't look like anything will come of it. O'Brien is actually side by side here with Stallworth. Stallworth going to take out the inside. O'Brien will give it to him. Stallworth goes deep. O'Brien switches it back and will keep that position, but Stallworth now on the inside. Menning and Mercer come across the line and finish P1, P2. Stallworth coming down on the inside does break later than him. We'll hold it there. O'Brien's going to have to give it, and that will be Stallworth's position. In our finishing order goes Menning, Mercer, Kerstetter, Bray, Mr. Sir, Nixon, Chilcutt, Neville, Dromos, and Stallworth.
What a finish.
Still some close cars on track, but unless we get a huge drag race from Quick here, I don't think we'll see anything. So that will be our race. We just need Pierce, Griffith, Sparks, and Rust to cross the line. Decent ways back. But, yeah, a different race than we're used to seeing here.
Definitely. It was much, much more of a long game race today than it was a here and now. But managing the here and now was key in order to maintain those gaps for those long battles ahead.
Great job from our racers on doing that, especially Menning. I hope we can get an interview with him to talk about his game plan through that entire thinking.
As do I. I do not have any drivers right now, but
I think that is the first time this season we've seen kind of that undercut work that big in his favor, where he's able to come away with a race win. Doesn't look like anyone's in the review just yet. We'll hold for a little bit. After seeing this race, Josh, yeah, knowing that we have our race tomorrow, does this change your kind of foresight into it?
I didn't have any foresight into the race tomorrow. I'm honestly kind of nervous. Like I said, I was a little bit sick last week, and with that came almost no practice. And with no practice, this track is very difficult. So,
It is. Well, you know what will make it less difficult?
What's that?
Some help from our affiliates. A couple in particular, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. And Ontario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. You can enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. And of course, to our last but not least, Ghost Setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link in our Discord. Take that drive to the next level. Like that. I was smooth with it.
So smooth. So smooth.
As you see, we have some people populating chat. Do we have Menning?
We do. Shall I bring him up?
I am ready for him. He is ready. I am ready. Michael Menning, a shadow, might I say, in this race, but wins the race completely. Wet Donington round 6. How are you feeling?
The Definitely solid. I'm very happy about that. I was not expecting that coming into this race. I knew qualifying was going to be ridiculously tight again. I knew I didn't really have the one lap pace. I mean, obviously it comes and goes, but I can't consistently hook up a lap like that. So still pretty happy with P8. And then I knew as soon as the traffic in the first couple laps, I was just going to wait until there was someone in front of me that didn't pit, and then I went straight in. I solid, hopped Mr. Sir, and then just drove consistently through the entire race, and that did it. Feeling really happy about it though.
Yeah, P8 to P1, no small feat, especially with overtaking in the pits. How important do you think the pit stop strategy was today as compared to other races that we have?
It was definitely. I mean, I guess I'm not really sure, but the pace up top wasn't looking like amazing. Obviously, they were still doing great, but the pace wasn't looking like too crazy up front. I just kept on getting my hopes up. So, yeah, and I know I saw something happen to Marquez. I'm not sure what that was, but that when I saw that happen, I knew that kind of sealed it. But Mercer was also giving me a scare though. He's got some good pace in the wet. So.
Yeah, both of them were fast, but it is you who ultimately takes the win away from everyone. And hopefully you can repeat it next week at a dry, sunny Silverstone.
It's gonna be an interesting race. I haven't driven there in a very long time, but I am a fan of that track, so I'd love to come back again there for sure.
We'll hope to see you back here on the podium in the victory lane, essentially. Go enjoy the night. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Catch you later.
Good guy. Insanely good pit stop strategy, as well as Jeremy Mercer, who comes out P2 tonight. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it ended up being a better result than I expected from the qualifying, so I have to be happy with it.
Was your plan always to kind of pit a little bit before everyone else, get that huge undercut and take away that P2 position, or did it just that was a call in the moment kind of thing?
It was call in the moment because the two cars in front of me were battling and they were slowing each other up and slowing me up. So best to just avoid that.
That is fair enough. You come home, you take P2 away. Hopefully we can see you up here at Silverstone next week. Do you have any kind of plan preparation going into there?
Not really any different than usual. But yeah, get a good tune, practice, make sure I can run a good qualifying and a good race pace. So,
well, we hope to see you back up here next week at Silverstone. Have a good night.
Thanks.
And we're just full of good people.
Always. And I cannot find our third podium setter.
Oh, it's okay. Sometimes they're not around. I really wanted to talk to Cursor because he was the only of the top three that held out until the very end. So
yeah, and it worked. It didn't seem like it was going to work tonight, but it worked for one driver.
But, you know, if you're enjoying what you're watching here, you actually kind of want to come race with us, see what's going on, or just be a part of the community, as we do run endurance races pretty regularly or just for fun events. Go to simracingalliance.com. You can go there, find our Discord link, go join, sign up for whatever you need, whatever you want to join. Just get your Discord roles. We're all a fun bunch of people, like just messing around, making each other better in the moment. So go over to simracingalliance.com, check out all of our events and Discords over there. Josh, any final words?
Pull out your umbrellas, folks. Rain races ain't going away.
Nope, they're not, because you can join in tomorrow for Division 2 and 3. Division 2 on Twitch, Division 3 on our YouTube. I think Division 6 is now on YouTube as well. Sim Racing Alliance on YouTube. Go over there, check it out tomorrow. But next week, we'll be back to dry in the sunny Silverstone, still in Britain, but at Silverstone. I'm signing off. Taylor Milano, that's Josh Damiani. We'll see you next week for round 7.
Peace.